Welcome back to the Becoming Her Diaries, where I share my journey of becoming my highest self with the hopes of inspiring you to do the same. As you can tell by the title, I quit my six-figure job. And you guys, it's been such a journey, and I'm so excited to share it with you and really just to share also the whole process of becoming a success. My goal for the end of the year is a pretty high number. And so I am praying that we get there, but I'm going to show you the systems and strategies that I'm using to do exactly that. So this video is separated into four parts. I will add timestamps so that you guys can skip ahead to whichever part really resonates with you. But we're going to start with the things that I've loved about this experience of working for myself. We're also going to go through the challenges. We're going to go through my vision for the year and then also any systems that I'm putting in place to kind of help me do exactly what I want to do. But before we do any of that, welcome to my channel. If you haven't seen my face before, I'm Katrina, based in LA. I do content, I do day trading, I do a lot of things, but really the biggest thing that I'm doing is just going it on my own and figuring out how to become the woman of my dream. For those who may be asking, why did you quit your six-figure job? Well, there was a few reasons, but the main reason was that I was very aware that I wasn't living in alignment with the woman that I saw myself becoming and the woman that I wanted to be in the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. The job that I had was great. I think that if I had different aspirations for what I wanted my day to day to look like in the next 10 years, it would have been a great fit for me. But knowing what I know about how I want to live my life and what I want to accomplish, it just wasn't a fit. And I knew that if I didn't just take the chance to go 100% in on what I want and my goals, then I was never going to do it, because you know how hard it is to do extra stuff when you're already comfortable. Like, comfortability will be the thing that kills all of your ambitions. So I healthily removed myself from that situation. Now, when it comes to replacing my 9 to 5 income, that's where things get a little juicy. So we're going to do a few different things. Number one, I'm doing UGC, which is user generated content. I already do content and I was already getting paid for some content as well. So I was like, oh, let's just kind of lean into that a bit more. My main source of income that I have planned is going to be day trading. I've been doing day trading on and off for the past 5 years. Sometimes I do leaps. I used to trade options. I dipped into Forex and was like, this is not my ministry. And now I trade futures, primarily ES, but I'm hoping to dip into gold as well as NQ by the end of this year. Let's get started with the things that I've loved about this journey that I am on. Number one is the recalibration of my nervous system. Y'all, my nervous system was shot in corporate America. Like, even just having like which hand is it on? Having my Aura ring, having my Apple Watch, it was very clear to me that my stress levels were not sustainable. The amount of pressure I was putting on myself to show up for work, but also show up for myself, was just not going to work for me. And now I have the freedom, which is thing number two. I have the freedom of my day to batch things differently. So there are some days that I'll do things for like 12 hours and really get a lot done. And then the next day, I can kind of take it a little easier. It's also been amazing for my PMS symptoms. I was previously diagnosed with PMDD, so I can get pretty down and just like not up for anything. And I used to have to go to work through those things. Now I just kind of play around and batch things in different parts of my cycle so that when I get to the parts where I have no energy, no desire to show up at all, I don't have to show up at all. And it's been planned that way. The third one is just the freedom to rest, like rest in general. Like, as a Black woman, I struggle with resting. Even today, I was like, I slept for 10 hours and I still felt bad, even though I woke up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and I still did things. I was just like, you need to rest. My relationship with rest has always been abysmal. I was a very busy child. I was a very busy adult who would always have activities on the weekend, always had a side hustle, always running around doing things with family and friends. And now this has really been a time for me to rest and recalibrate, not just my nervous system, but just my body in general, because I was living off caffeine. To give you like a day in my normal 9 to 5 life, caffeine wise, I would take a double shot of espresso in the morning before I day traded. Before I went to work, I would have a Celsius. And then we also had Celsius at work. So I would usually drink one around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I was just so tired. And now I have completely cut Celsius altogether. My caffeine intake is down a lot, also because I'm doing a trip where I can't have caffeine. So I'm slowly bringing it down, but I was literally kicking like 600 milligrams of caffeine a day. Yes, look and shame. It is not okay. It is not sustainable. And it would show up in my heart rate. Like, my resting heart rate would be like 80 or 90, which is horrible for my age demographic. And so now I rest, I recover, and instead of when I'm sleepy drinking caffeine, I just take a nap. Like just go to sleep. I'm also last one, things I love. I'm an introvert, and so the fact that I don't have to recharge to work on things is beautiful. Like one of the things I've loved about this journey is that I can do so much from my house, and I don't have to talk to people until I'm ready to talk to people. I don't have to put energy into showing up and code switching, which I would of course have to do. Like every I think minority has a moment where they're kind of code switching. And now that I don't put the energy into code switching and I'm just myself all day long, it also gives me a little energy boost because before I'd be like, oh, I have to change the way I'm speaking. I have to use different diction. And I have to have this personality because this personality is also what helped me get to where I was in my career. Now, some days I don't open my mouth until like 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's amazing. I love it. I don't know how people do it. Like, I'm clearly not an extrovert. Like, if you really go on the definition of extrovert, like getting energy from other people, that's not me. I get energy from being in my house. And so I love it because I already live in my dream apartment and now I get to really spend time in it and enjoy the fruits of my labor. And it's loving it. Okay, so that was the exciting part. Now we're going to go a little darker because there have been some challenges throughout this time. And the biggest challenge has been my internal dialogue with myself. The way that I struggle with self trust, trusting myself, trusting the universe, but really trusting myself to show up and to get the work done has been a process. I will say that the world does not train you to be an entrepreneur. You start with school. When you don't do your homework, there are consequences from someone else. When you get out into the workforce, there are consequences that are put forward by your leadership team. And now, when you're really on your own, there is no one pushing forth these consequences. Like, you don't notice it until you have to pay your rent and you're like, oh, I should have done something this month because now I have no money. Right. And so you go from zero consequences, no warning system to extreme dire consequences that put your like health and safety at risk. And there's no middle ground. And so there's been this adjustment of having to trust myself that, okay, you didn't make money today, but this is a process. This is a journey. And understanding that there's such a snowball effect that can happen that you can't have in your 9 to 5, where there are some days where I made $0. And then trading, there are some days that I made $1,000 and it just changes. But it's really hard to go through those negative days of when I lose money in a trade or I get an email back from a brand and they're like, oh, we don't really want to work with you. We want to work with you, but for free. Like there's these moments of you start to doubt yourself and you have to bring yourself back to baseline with no one else. Like you have a community, you have people you talk to, but there's really no one emotionally and financially as connected to your journey as you are. And that's a good thing to learn. It's a good thing to understand and experience. But there are days where it is challenging. The second challenge that I've had is just being consistent across the board because I used to have work as an excuse to not be consistent. And now I'm seeing that even when I don't have something else to do, consistency can still be difficult when there's underlying reasons for you not being consistent. And I really had to face what those reasons are as to why I'm not being consistent because I thought it was A, B, and C, and it is not any of those things because I've removed those blockers. And so now it's like, well, why aren't you really being consistent? What are you afraid of? What are you feeling? What are you thinking that's holding you back from doing the things that you want to really do for yourself? And so there's once again the mindset, the internal work. No joke. No joke, y'all. It really takes a lot. And I'm learning that each and every day. But it's also like an enjoyable challenge because I can see how that's beneficial over time, regardless of what happens. The third challenge has been me not having a plan for my day will just kill it. And I realized that I used to really rely on my schedule by other people to get through my workday. And so I would have meetings that I scheduled, meetings that other people scheduled, and then I would have breaks that I would have specific tasks to get done. And those tasks were tied to some system that whatever job I had put in place. So now the biggest challenge for me has been creating a new system that works for me, that challenges me, but isn't so overwhelming that I won't get the work done. And then the last challenge has just been internal kindness. I'm not very kind to myself. That's been the lesson of the month for sure, is the way that I sometimes speak to myself you would think that I don't like me the way that my internal narrative is. Even though I love myself, I'm proud of myself, I think I'm beautiful, I think I'm kind, smart, whatever. There are times where you don't feel that because some external factor ends up being bigger in your head than those internal feelings that you have about yourself. And so I am now going through the experience of balancing those two things, balancing what I see in the 3D versus what I see for myself in the 4D, and then merging the two together and ignoring those negative spaces and negative thoughts and really leaning into the positive ones and finding tools that fit into my schedule and into my system and putting them intentionally in the system so that I consistently remind myself and have these reinforcements of positive mindset, positive self talk, and not comparing myself necessarily to other people's success. The people that are like, well, I made 50K in the first month. That is so beautiful. Thank you. That is not my experience, but you don't know what else other people are going through. So trying to maintain that positivity in the way that I speak to myself. I really don't struggle with it and how I speak about others, but for myself, it's a work in progress and something that I am determined to fix before the end of this year. So let's talk my long term vision for where I see my life going in the next year. Now that I am taking everything more seriously and having actual systems in place to make sure I get there, the first goal is to increase my long term savings and to stop relying on savings to sustain my lifestyle right now. I am very blessed to be in a position where I had enough savings to just step away. And even if I don't make a dime, I will never say this for myself, but I do have the money to pay through the rest of my lease without making any money doing any of these things. But that's not the plan. That will not happen. I refuse to even speak that into the universe. We are going to make money doing these things. So the main source of income that I can see growing the fastest, because it's the one that's in my control and really just has to do with me regulating my nervous system through difficult times, is trading. So right now, I've been trading futures. I do have a prop firm. I don't know if I'm going to keep using it. I used it in November and it was great. I kind of did some stuff in December, but if you trade, December is just messy. It's messy. It got in my headspace. And I think I stopped trading in December, like the second week. And I was profitable by the end of the month, but it was very, very low, like maybe $150 or $100, something like that, because I just didn't feel comfortable trading then. And then January, I started to feel the pressure. And so I was like, I got to take a step. I got to take a step back. So the goal is to really go back to where I was at in November, which makes it a little easier for me to process because I'm like, you've been here. So why can't you go back to it? And that's the goal for that. And then the second one, UGC, to really kind of grow in that industry, to really understand my portfolio, perfect it, and to grow as a creator, potentially dip into acting. Acting was my first job. And so I don't know if I want to go back to it yet, but I like that content creation kind of gives me the in between of that. But I'd also be open to doing it. So we'll see what we apply to. But the primary goal is to do UGC creation. And then, of course, I'm here with you guys. So I'm going to start blogging as well this journey because right now, let's be clear. Left my job. My last day was December 1st. None of these things have made any money in December. December was all about regulation and getting my body back on track because it was going through something serious. January, we'll see what we do in January. I am going to be gone all next week for a meditation retreat, which means we won't be responding to emails or anything like that. So January is more like a 2 week kind of sprint. So we'll see what we do, but I'm not expecting or like leaning into, oh, I really want to hit this number by the end of January. And then February is when we really checks should be coming in. The last one will be speaking engagements. I kind of have some of these in the pipeline right now. I need to refresh those connections and see, but I adore public speaking. Like I said, I used to love acting. And so public speaking to me is just, it's so easy and fun, and I love connecting with the audience. And I think public speaking is like the perfect thing for me because I love acting, because I love being on stage, but there's a fourth wall, right? The imaginary fourth wall you're not supposed to break. And then in speaking engagements, you get to break the fourth wall. And it's kind of like, ooh, I get to be like Deadpool, but like speaking about things I care about and helping others. And it's just amazing. I adore it. And maybe one day I'll post one of my speaking engagements on YouTube. And then the last section, which I might do a whole separate video about systems because I work for as a system engineer for so long that I understand the importance of systems. And I know that's why December made no money. Okay. I had no systems in place whatsoever. And so January is all about me trying out these systems and then really seeing how I need to fine tune them so that in February, we're moving. Okay. We're going to be moving and rolling and shaking starting February. Okay. So my systems are broken down into one quarters. I use the 12-week year system for all of my like larger goals. And then when it comes to like my smaller weeks, I have a written planner because a digital planner wasn't doing it for me. And then I also have my Apple Calendar for specific things that I want to turn in on time. So I have digital for the very, very large vision, written for the day to day, and then digital again for specific task or calendar items. And this is the system that I have so far. It may get switched around, but I like this for like a daily check off. And I do think it's important to have part of your system be something that's written out because there's something about the way the human brain works where when you write something out with your hand, it's very different to how your brain, I think, works with it in comparison to typing. Now, I'm not a neurologist, it's not medical advice. I'm just saying this has been my personal experience. I wanted to make sure that writing things down and being able to like, cross it out, it hits you, And I used to love that from the to do app. There's like a ding when you finish a task, but the scratch out and the fact when you look through it later and you're like, I did so many things this week was super important to me, which is the last part of my system. And this one is for me specifically because I am really working on that internal dialogue, you guys. There are days that I finish the day and I'm like, I didn't accomplish anything today. Now, mind you, woke up early, got my steps in, went to the gym, did laundry, cleaned, da da da, da 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 da. And I feel like I didn't do anything. And so, one thing that I've started doing at the end of the day, if I really feel negatively, I don't do this every day, is write down every small accomplishment. I don't care if it is I flossed today, write it down, okay? Because the things that we don't give ourselves credit for, these little tasks, are what make kind of our bigger lives. And it's so easy to be like, well, I only did 3 big tasks today. So what? Okay. You did so many little things and you deserve credit, maybe even a sweet treat. Okay. If that's allowed in your system for accomplishing those things, like be so for real. Like we are so mean to ourselves. And even like, okay, this is a random rant, but this whole 300 jail thing is killing me because I didn't even know 300 people when I was little. There are ancestors of ours who never met 300 people. And we are so sad when our videos hit like 325, 375. I'm like, girl, if you post 3 videos in a day and they each are in 300 jail, that's 1,000 people. That's like, come on, that's so many people. But it's the mindset that we put ourselves in. And I'm guilty of this as well. Okay. Don't believe me. My eyes are rolling when I'm in 300 jail as well, but I'm trying to reframe. So we have some systems, we have goals, long and short term. In another video, I'll share with you guys my vision board. I don't know if I have enough words together for it just yet, but it is there on the wall, and I look at it every single day. That is another part of my system, is just kind of grounding myself in that. Like, this is what you're doing this for. The stress, the anxiety, the negativity, F all of that. This is the goal. So just pay attention to that and take everything else as lessons, but tune that ish out. In short, this has been a process. It has been an experience. It has not always been a positive experience, but I'm still excited and I'm still motivated, and there will be success. And one day you guys are going to look back at this video and be like, dang, she was at 0 that long ago. That's crazy. Because look at her now. Okay. Dominating, killing it, changing the game forever. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Who knows? Maybe I will have done it by then in 1 week. We'll see what happens. All right. Bye, guys.